So yesterday, Standard & Poor's, a bond rating agency, downgraded Alberta's credit rating. It's the fourth credit downgrade in less than a year for Alberta. Just stop for a moment and think about that. If it was you, if 4 times in less than a year, your bank phoned you up and said, you are reckless, you are racking up debt way too fast, you're out of control with the credit cards. 4 times they said so publicly, even to warn people about lending to you. 4 times they raised your credit card interest rate to try to slow you down. If that happened to you as a person, it would be such an embarrassment. But Rachel Notley and the NDP are not susceptible to shame. They love it. They know they're wrecking Alberta's credit rating, but it's not an accident or a whoopsie for them. It is a deliberate strategy to enrich their friends in public sector unions. Not only did Notley not reduce the budget deficit or lay off a single worker, her new budget actually increases the size of the public service by thousands. Gee, I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that her husband is a senior lobbyist for a public sector union. Is, present tense, he hasn't stopped since she became premier. Last year was a terrible year for most Albertans, especially those in the oil patch, including private sector unions in the oil patch and construction. But it was a record year last year for Notley's public sector union friends. According to Statistics Canada, the number of public sector workers in Alberta last year for all levels of government actually grew by 47,000 people. It increased. So yeah, Notley knows what she's doing. But get this, I want to show you one little thing here. Standard & Poor's, that's the rating agency that had its warning yesterday, they said if things keep going this way, Alberta might have to bring in a sales tax just to cover its debts. Now, as you know, Alberta is the only province without a provincial sales tax, although Rachel Notley is bringing in a de facto sales tax next year with her carbon tax. Same thing, really. But here's my point. When Standard & Poor's says that Alberta might need a sales tax to cover its out-of-control spending, they're not speaking for the interests of Albertans or for taxpayers. They're speaking for the interests of Alberta's creditors, the bill collectors, people worried about Notley being a deadbeat. It's like a repo man coming over and saying, I want you to start selling your family heirlooms and jewelry to make my collecting on your debts easier. He's not on your side. He's on the side of the people who loaned Notley the money. But look at this reaction to that statement by Standard & Poor's. Here's Dave Cournoyer, who works for a public sector union in Alberta. He's a blogger too. He links to a story about Standard & Poor's and says, not having a sales tax basically amounts to foregone revenue for the government. Time for a PST, Alberta. So he's on the side of the repo man because he wants the massive spending to continue. But it's not just union activists like him. Here's the Globe and Mail. Alberta Finance Minister just said S&P downgrade is because province isn't using all fiscal tools, code for sales tax, he said. So Alberta's finance minister, who's a social worker by training, is saying, well, we don't really want to bring in a sales tax on us, but the debt collector says we have to, and the Globe and Mail loves that. So does the CBC. They've been beating the drum on a sales tax for months. Hey, if the bank phoned your house 4 times in the past year telling you your credit cards were out of control, your spending was out of control, do you think your spouse would say, keep going, honey, nothing's wrong, just raid the kids' piggy banks? Yeah, no, that's not how it works in real life, but that's how it works in Rachel Notley's NDP. No wonder they're called the Destroyers. For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.